Jason. How are
Hey,
you?
I'm good. We're back. Shake off the dust, the rust. No, it's been a while. It's been a while.
Shake off the summer holiday
Not yet. Come on. There's
dust.
still the holidays maybe, huh? But still August. It's still summer, right? We still
It
got
is,
we still
it
got
is,
some
it is.
time.
It is,
But
exactly.
yeah, let's see how this goes. Hello everyone. I'm Jason Greenman. This is Sabrina Myers. I don't know if you remember us. It's been a while. But
Exactly.
but we're here and we're going to do something a little bit more casual today. This is the 20-minute Eventprofs Marketing Live. We're going to talk about the importance of disconnecting. Lots of people on holiday, on vacation, and trying to disconnect in a world that's very difficult to disconnect from. So that's kind of the
Absolutely.
theme. I mean, this is real casual. So come in, like say hello. Let us know where you're joining from. If you're traveling, if you're not at home, wherever you're write in the comments maybe where you are. I'm in Barcelona.
Absolutely. We've got Naomi.
Yay!
Hey,
All right.
Naomi.
What's up,
We
Naomi?
missed it too. We missed it too. I love how she's like tapped on it real fast. Um, Brilliant. We love that. Thank
So
you for
like
joining us, Naomi.
I am. Can we actually comment here? So like I'm in Barcelona. I'm back at home. I think Sabrina's joining us from her home as well.
Exactly, exactly. So we're,
Um,
we're finally back. We're finally back. And we did take a discussed break,
true.
hiatus that we actually did not announce. So if you missed us, we're really sorry. But this is what happens when you're an event professional, but you are also a parent and
Hmm.
there are kids at home and you have
Hmm.
summer holidays and the
Yeah.
holidays pretty much take over your entire life.
True.
Um, and you are more busy scheduling their lives than yours.
Yeah.
I think this is kind of a thing, right? So
It's pretty much all that we do is schedule their lives. Yeah. 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 I
it's
I
like
don't have
play
a schedule.
dates, Zoom, play dates, Zoom, play dates, Zoom. Yeah,
Exactly. My
that's kind of
schedule revolves around their schedule. So,
yeah.
uh,
So we thought we'd come on here and talk about, as Jason said, the importance of disconnecting and
true.
how I think it's very interesting. The both of us have um, managed our holidays very differently in terms of disconnecting. Now,
Mm.
Jason disconnected completely, which I get, exactly, just like on his screen, he's completely disappeared. And but he didn't disappear completely, right? I got you, Jason, because
Thank
you
you.
were engaging with some of the content that you were
True.
seeing. You just weren't posting, but you were engaging. So,
That's true.
and that's important because that is kind of a way that you can still stay connected even when you're not posting yourself, because
Mm.
you're kind of living vicariously through the content of others who may not be on holiday
Mm.
or who are not on break or whatnot.
True.
So, yes, I think it's important. I disconnected as well, in the sense that I wasn't posting
Mm.
every single day to my
Yeah.
LinkedIn and to my Instagram.
Hmm.
Which for me is huge. I have posted every single day on LinkedIn and on Instagram for the last 18 months.
Wow.
And it felt kind of weird to
Yeah.
not do it. To be honest, I'll tell you the truth. I
Yeah.
felt super guilty. I was
Hmm.
like, oh my God, I didn't post today. What's going to happen?
What's going on? Yeah.
What's going on?
Is this okay?
Is this okay? And what
Yeah.
I was telling Jason earlier is my strategy that I took, and it was a little experiment that I did,
Hmm.
was that I didn't really post much to my feed on Instagram. I actually just did a ton of stories of whatever I was doing every single day. I had a very active holiday, active in a sense of I tasted a lot of wine in a lot of different places. Um, and I was recording everything I was doing. And it was like an online journal, so to speak. Um, and turns out my engagement was plus 265%,
Hmm.
which blew my mind completely
Yeah.
because, it just shows that people are consuming content differently now,
Definitely.
right?
Hmm.
Um,
Yep.
and what were you doing on holiday, Jason? Like, I know you were disconnected, but like, how were you like still connected?
So I think I drew a line between kind of creating and consuming. So I probably went from being more of a creator on holiday to just
Mm,
consuming very limited amounts. So I would, I really limited the time that I would be on my phone or definitely on the computer. But at night, maybe I'd check in to see what was happening on Twitter or what was happening on Instagram. And if I saw something that spoke to me, I'd interact with it. And that was kind of as far as I would go. Because I mean, part of being on holiday is your mental health, and
Yep.
that's kind of, I mean, it's not kind of, it's a very big theme right now in the events industry,
Hmm.
and we all need to be taking care of our mental health. And I think taking a break from work is a major part of that. I think we're fortunate in Europe to have pretty significant laws in place that protect our rights to holidays. Spain, I think you get 22 days per year by law.
Hmm.
It's pretty normal for people to go away 2 or 3 weeks in Spain in August. And I mean, it's really good for your health. All the studies show that, for your heart, for your brain, for your stress levels, for your sleeping, taking a real break is very healthy. In the States, the story is a little bit different, and getting 2 or 3 weeks in a row is very hard. So you almost have to make sure that you use those days even more. Like, yeah,
Absolutely.
there's more pressure to disconnect, because if you go on holiday and you're thinking about work, you're checking emails, you're not only are you not actually taking a break, but the people around you, with your family, like my kids see that. My
Yeah.
kids have called me out in front of me saying,
Mine too.
yeah, like, Dad, stop looking at your phone. And when you're on holiday and they say that, it's like, that hurts. Exactly. It's like,
It's like
you just
straight to the heart, right? It's like
exactly,
that
yeah, yeah,
John Bon Jovi song is like
right,
shot through
yeah,
the heart.
exactly.
It's exactly like that.
So
Exactly.
I think it's good to be conscious before you go on holiday, to make that a goal. Almost like, how when you're not on holiday and you're working and you have the goals, I'm going to post X number of days or X number of times per day, and you have a content plan.
Yeah.
Maybe before going on the holiday, have like an anti content plan saying, I'm only going to be on my phone for 15 minutes a day or something like that, or I'm not going to do it at all. I'm just not going to go in. That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, what I'll see, because this is an experiment too, is I have fallen off the face of the digital planet for the last, what, month,
Two,
maybe?
three.
Or
I'll go
yeah,
3 weeks. Let's say
3 weeks. Okay.
3 weeks. Yeah. 3 weeks.
So I'm curious to see that when I do join the conversation again, if I'll be welcomed back. And I think I will. I think,
But
like, I've
this is
probably,
the thing though. You
yeah,
will. You will
right.
because you were very consistent for a long period of
Yeah,
time. Like not like we're all consistent in different ways,
yeah,
and we all
yeah,
show up in different ways. And I think this is what's important to understand here is that,
yeah.
consistency looks different to every person.
Hmm.
And how you show up online looks different to every person because everyone's daily is different. Everyone's to do is different. Everyone's
Hmm.
must do's are different. And it's how you are able to fit in showing up into, your day.
Yeah.
And you had a way of how you were showing up that was, you might not think consistent, but
Hmm.
from the outside it was, because
Right.
that's how event dad shows up. And we got used to that
Yeah.
consistency and how
Hmm.
you would show up, and when you did show up, what you would be saying and
Right.
what your insights would be and things like that. And through
Hmm.
that, you have built this community. We have a fantastic community
Yeah.
online.
We do.
And just because you go away for 3 weeks and you come back on, it doesn't mean they're going to stop talking to you.
Hmm.
But that's the beauty of community, is that you
Hmm.
can take a step back
Right.
and you can come straight back into it. And
Hmm.
it's like coming back into, like a high school reunion in a
Yeah.
little bit of a way, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And catching up.
Yeah.
But again, this is why it's so important to have built that community in the
Right.
first place, right?
Hmm.
And that's what
True.
we did in the last
True.
18 months, which is why it hasn't been as huge or significant of an impact, I think, coming back in,
True.
because we kind of
Yeah.
have that base.
Mm.
But we've got some people doing some comments up in here. Ronald
Yeah. What's everybody up to?
from
Let's see.
Malaysia, another lockdown. I wish I could go
No.
on holiday
Yeah.
somewhere. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry, Ronald. I feel your pain. I
It'll
feel your
come.
pain. It's
Yeah.
gonna
It'll come.
come. Hang in there. Hang in
Yeah.
tight.
Yeah.
You are not alone, and we are here. So
Yeah.
reach out whenever you want. And
Mm.
you're doing an amazing job on LinkedIn. Everyone, cheer on Ronald.
Yeah.
He's been doing a fantastic job on LinkedIn. His posts have been fantastic and so interesting. He's been sharing such great content,
Hmm.
and I am here for it.
100%.
I think this is Julie. I've just got back from Spain.
This
No,
is Nikki Buse.
this
Nikki
is
Buse. I can see. Yeah.
Nikki. Nikki, you need to somehow add permissions so that we can see you when you come up on the comments on StreamYard. That doesn't come up for some reason. It just says LinkedIn user. So Nikki, I just got back from Spain and switched totally off as well. It's a struggle getting back into work
Yes.
again. But you wouldn't know it from her Instagram feed because this is a woman that has learned, she's planned and scheduled.
Yeah.
So, she actually planned and scheduled to be away. I wouldn't know that Nikki is away on break because on
I
the
had no idea.
Destinations
Yeah.
on the Destinations Unlimited Instagram page, she was active every other day. So it was fantastic to see that it can work.
And one thing while we're talking about Nikki too, because that's a really important point that I think not many people talk about, is as important as it is to take your holiday and your vacation, that transition back to Monday, your first Monday back, it's really tough. Like it's really, really hard. And I mean, like I feel that, Nikki. It's okay to, to feel like getting the wheels moving again is really hard. And I think what helps for me is reaching out to people that I work with, I collaborate with. I actually literally called Sabrina yesterday to talk to her, and we complained about how difficult it was to get back in. So like I feel you, and we'll get there. It's also hard. It's August. It still feels like summer,
right?
Does. And everybody has their out of office on, and it's hard to get that motivation back. But I think, again, going back to community, that's where having an active community and reaching out to people and sharing that helps a lot. So we're feeling the same way, huh?
We are absolutely. Nikki, I got back last Wednesday, and on Thursday I was at my emails and I was literally replying to people, "Happy Monday," because in my head it was Monday. And people thought I was insane. I've had Andrew Roby here on LinkedIn going, "I don't know where in the world you live, but it's not Monday here." So I was like cracking up. I had to like go in and edit my post again. I was like, whoops. So we've all been there. We come back. We're always in this kind of like a cloud when you come back and you have to get back into it. So Naomi's saying, "Jason, I'm going on holiday in October. I'm going traveling for a couple of weeks.
Nice.
This August and September is very busy." Yes.
Yeah.
Good. I mean, it's a good thing. That's amazing. My September looks like it's going to be pretty crazy as well because I'll be in Stavanger, Norway with the two of you. Virtually, well, I'm going to be in person moderating the Digital Disruptor 3rd September 2021. If you don't have tickets for it yet,
check it out.
Jason's going to put the link into our comments. Go check it out. This is going to be a hybrid event like you've never seen, organized by the Mice Guru from Norway. So we're very excited for that.
The Mice Guru, Heidi, I'm sure you all know Heidi, but when she does a virtual event, there is quality guaranteed. It's one of the few brands that I know that what she's going to put on is going to be very valuable. It's going to be worth your time and your money. So check it out. I'll throw it into the comments now so you guys can see it. If you don't have your tickets, go and get them. September 3rd. We'll all be there. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And I'll be tuning in live. Well, I'll be moderating live from Stavanger. Oh my God, I can't even believe it. In person right next to Heidi, which I'm besides myself with excitement. But we've got, of course, the fabulous Robert, who's saying that NASA plans for long journeys with individual timelines and a plan for different members of the team to lead when others are less present and they accept long-term stress. That's amazing. But that makes complete sense. Of course, it makes complete sense.
Exactly. It makes me feel like there's actual science behind what we're talking about, right?
Absolutely.
Not just opinion. Yeah.
But, I think what the underlying thing also here is a lot of us in this industry and a lot of the people that we speak to, we have small businesses or we're entrepreneurs ourselves and we have small teams. And so when you take a break, there's more of an impact, I think, right, to your presence and your online visibility. Because a lot of times, and I was actually thinking about this today, Jason, that when I ask, when I ask you like, "Hey, Jason, have you been active on social media?" And then you go, "Oh, no, I completely dropped out," right?
Yeah.
Now, is that you talking as Event Dad or is that you talking as a Como, right? Because the purpose is different of how you use social media as a business
Yeah.
and how you use social media personally. Now, if you
Mm.
fall out, and not be on as event dad for 3 weeks, that's okay,
Yeah.
because your purpose is you just reporting in as an event
Hmm.
prof who's a parent
Right.
and your life, right? But
Yep.
for a Como, it would be very different, right?
Right.
Because it's a business. You would probably plan to have posts that are still happening
Hmm.
whilst the team is away. Now,
Right.
whether that's happened or not, I don't know. But,
Yep.
I'm saying that there's a difference to when you're managing your socials, how you're going to plan to be visible as a brand and a business versus how
Yep.
you're going to be planned to be visible personally. And
Yeah.
personally, you can switch off completely. Like,
Yeah.
I have a personal account.
Totally.
I did not post to it at
Yep.
all on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, not at all.
Hmm.
But I made a conscious effort to do stories on hot hospitality
Hmm.
and kind of keep that alive.
Yep.
Because what I was doing, I thought was relevant to what I
Hmm.
do anyway for my brand.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well,
I think there is that
it's a nice
distinction.
thing about the events industries is that sometimes there is overlap on when you're on holiday and content related to the events industry, right?
Yeah,
So if I go somewhere, I'm like, wow, this is a really amazing venue, or this is amazing food, and you can always pull that into the events world. It's food, it's leisure,
exactly.
it's like hotels and all the things that we would do on holiday. A lot of that we can pull ideas from events. So there is a nice meeting point between the
Overlap.
two.
Yeah,
Exactly. So,
absolutely.
but yeah, you're totally right. Balancing the corporate side, right, the business side with your personal account. I mean, it's always a challenge because it's managing two accounts.
Yeah.
If anybody else struggles with that, put that in the comments, because I know it's something that I hear a lot. Is that I have a personal account and a business account. Which one should I do? How do I do the content? That could be something we talk about one day.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I agree with you. When you're on holiday, the personal one you can totally let go of. There's no problem. The business one, it's probably best to have at least one or two posts coming up a week, just so that you're still visible, right?
Visible,
Just so
exactly.
your brand is still out there. And at the end of the day, if you can't, it's also not the end of the world. But I think you should be able to at least schedule that. It's not too difficult.
So my kind of I would say advice for that is,
Hmm.
if you, as a business, so say a Como, right?
Yep.
That, say, Julie's going to be away, you're going to be away,
Hmm.
whoever is doing the social content, for example, you figure out who is away, right?
Hmm.
And how long you guys are going to be away for, and then you
Yep.
come up with you calculate, okay, we're going to be away for 3 weeks. We need to be doing, say, 2 to 3 posts every single week to look like we're still visible. And then you come up with that plan, you do the content, and you schedule the content. It's not going to meet, for example, on Instagram, it might not be reels, because reels can't be scheduled, right?
Right.
So you don't
Hmm.
have that.
Yeah.
Stories can be scheduled, but not kind of the in-person kind of stories. Kind of
Hmm.
the graphic template kind of stories can be
Yeah.
scheduled if you want to do stories.
Mm.
But you can schedule feed posts. So you can say,
Hmm.
okay, we're going to schedule 2 carousels and 1
Totally.
image, and you have that all planned out. You plug
Yep.
it all into a spreadsheet and you plan it.
Hmm.
And then, irregardless of, if you're kind of there, it's still happening. And that could be potentially one of the things that Nikki did to keep
Hmm.
Destinations Unlimited still going while she was fully unplugged.
Yep.
And then all you're really doing is you're getting those notifications, if you have your notifications on, of
Yep.
if anyone sent a message or if anyone's
Hmm.
commented on your posts. And then
Yep.
literally, you don't have to respond if you don't want to.
Hmm.
But if it's someone that you're trying to, in community is everything now, then you
Mm.
should probably respond to those messages.
Yep.
So that's like one of the things. But obviously, every platform is different, right?
Hmm.
LinkedIn, you can schedule on Buffer for free.
Yep.
Twitter, you can schedule on the platform itself for free.
Hmm.
So it
Yep.
really depends what platforms you're using, and how often you want to be posting, and how to maintain that consistency even
Yep.
when you're disconnecting. Because
Exactly.
I just think that if you look after that piece,
Hmm.
it's going to help you to disconnect even more,
Well,
because you're
yeah,
not
exactly.
worrying about being disconnected. Do you know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah, because then
Yeah,
you're not on holiday with the guilt of not posting, right? Like you've already set it
exactly.
up, it's going, and you can truly disconnect. I think it actually would have the opposite effect. It would actually help you disconnect even more if you put the work in beforehand, right?
Exactly. And I think
Mm,
that's the underlying kind of like, okay, we know when you're planning to go on holiday,
mm,
that has to actively be part of one of the things that you're planning to do if you
yeah,
are serious about using social media to market your brand or your business and to keep it
mm,
still present. That has to be one of
yeah,
the things. So we got
yeah,
Kamal
absolutely.
here saying, Jason, just back from holidays and long travel breaks, now back with a virtual event project in the APAC region.
Nice.
Very cool.
Good stuff,
Thank you,
Kamal.
Kamal,
Nice.
for sharing.
Yep.
Um,
It's
and he's also
surprising.
said that business
Go
needs
ahead,
to
go
be
ahead.
visible throughout. Number of posts can vary.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
very true.
100%. It's interesting. That's at least 2 or 3 comments now of people having very busy Augusts in terms of virtual events and things. There's, I mean, I think September we'll see the same thing, but I think we had like June was crazy, right? June was just like so many events
Was it
going on.
the 7th of June or the 10th of June where
There was
everyone
a
was,
day,
you
right?
were at the influencer event for Hubulo, right? The
True. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
influencer day,
exactly.
exactly.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think on that specific day, there was like
Yeah.
5 or 6 events
Yeah.
happening at the same
Hmm.
time.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, but
yeah,
it's nice to hear that that people are busy. That's it's a good thing.
absolutely.
But and I think even more when we've had a year like this with lots of stress, lots of I think more than anything, it's been for me. If we talk about the stress and the mental health a little bit, for me, the hardest thing has been the uncertainty because
Mm,
if you are a business or a person, an individual, um, and there's some level of certainty in the future, planning is much easier. But if
yeah,
there's total uncertainty, you have no idea when, like Ronald said earlier, like he's on another lockdown again. I mean, who would have imagined that in August of 2021 there would still be lockdowns going
a
on?
year later, yeah.
How do you plan for that? And I think for me, the stress is. I was thinking about this the other day. I think I'm gonna all right, I will do this. I'm gonna make a post about this, okay? I'll see if I can. But I was thinking about like the last 10, let's say 2010 to 2020, the life
Yeah,
of an event prof and like the growth of an event prof or whatever. And it's kind of like a nice, well, 2010 to 2020, right?
yeah,
It was actually for me, it was just kind of a nice little steady line moving up, a nice beautiful chart.
yeah.
And 2000, the last 18 months has literally been a series of cliffs, exactly. Cliffs and
Like that
peaks.
heart
That's
monitor,
it.
like when you're having
Yeah.
like,
To-
it's
Heart
literally like that.
monitor, 100%. Yeah, which is a nice, like, it's just been like up. There's going to be a ton of business. No, wait, now it's all the way back down, like all the way back up. There's zero certainty. And I think that kind of climate for your mind requires a real disconnect at some point.
Yeah,
Because it's not very sustainable for your health. Let's say that.
absolutely. And I
Yeah.
think it's something that we've been hearing a lot also is, um, you know, everyone's running a different race right now,
Yeah.
you know, in every single country. Before it was kind of this whole, this is what to expect during this season. This is what's to
Hmm.
expect during this season. We've
Yeah.
got this events coming up. And
Hmm.
it was very, I want to say, predictable, and you could forecast easily,
Definitely.
like you're saying, right?
Yep.
Whereas now, we might be doing really well, for example, in Germany right now, which we are
Mm.
with the
Hmm.
COVID and the fighting and the
Hmm.
vaccinations and
Yep.
everything. Um, but again, like Ronald, for example, in Malaysia and Singapore, things are very different,
Yeah.
and we're all fighting different battles right now.
Hmm.
Um, and so it's nice to see people getting busy again and in
Hmm.
person starting to return again, which is
Yep.
fantastic.
Yep.
But, there are still people that are stuck, and not able to go back into that, so
Hmm. Yep.
it's a really unfair situation right now, and it has been for a while, and
Yeah.
and we're all kind of crossing our fingers to see what happens in the next 6 months,
Yeah.
and if there's going to be any change,
Yeah.
and
And
that's, yeah,
let me ask you a question too. In your days of disconnect that you've had and
yeah,
kind of being away, um, did it help you get perspective on like perspective in the sense of almost that your mind can process what's actually happening even more on a bigger picture?
yeah,
Because in my personal like situation, if I'm actually go for a long walk, um, a lot of times all these like minor details, all the micro stuff kind of
yes,
disappears and you start thinking on a more
broad
higher
level.
level, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Did you have a do you have a similar like feeling
I
when you
did.
disconnect?
I did. I spent a few evenings staring out into
Into space,
into space.
into NASA. Yeah, yeah.
Um, and I didn't have my phone on me.
Hmm.
I think for like a day or two, I couldn't charge it enough, so I was using it a lot less.
Okay.
So that
Nice.
helped, right?
Hmm.
But also, I think what it did give me perspective on is when I came back with a renewed purpose
Hmm.
of
Yeah.
what I wanted to be doing
Hmm.
online, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. You
That's
know,
yeah. That's
why am
total
I
big
there?
picture. Yeah.
Why am I there? What do I want my content to be about? And what
Hmm.
is it leading to, essentially, right?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and also, how am I going to fit it around what I do? I think that's
Hmm.
important.
Hmm.
And because I think the last 18 months, it's kind of been like dust, the dust hasn't settled. And I
Yeah.
think when you
At all.
disconnect, the
Hmm.
dust kind of settles a little bit, enough for you to kind of see, okay, Sabrina, you've worked for the last 18 months. You've gotten to
Yeah.
this point where you can virtually moderate,
Hmm.
you can plan events and manage events,
Yeah.
but you can also manage social media, and you can,
Hmm.
train on social media and all of
Hmm.
this, right? So you've actually kind of, I don't want to use that word again. Let's go with transition. You've
Mm.
transitioned your career, or your skill set to a
Yeah.
different level now. So it's about now recognizing, okay, where do you want to focus now
Right.
on,
Hmm.
and what do you want to do instead of doing everything?
Right.
What's going to be
Yeah.
your thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Because I
that's
think
kind of the perspective that I've gotten.
when you're in your day to day, and I'm curious to see if anybody else feels this, but when you're in your day to day, and you're focusing on the details, right, and you're focusing on like the tasks
This,
that you have
yeah,
to do, right, and you've got like your list of 20 tasks that you need to check off today, you hardly have time to think about the big picture. Like
yeah,
you don't have time to think about, is what I'm doing valuable? Is there a purpose to it? Do I like doing it?
yeah,
No.
yeah.
I'm a really, really interesting. So I did the Mobile World Congress. Well, God, it feels like it was months
A
ago, but I
month
think that
ago,
was
yeah,
it 1 month ago.
yeah.
Um, and speaking to people, event professionals who are going back into real in-person events. And I don't know how many people are willing to admit this, but I mean, you get back into the stress, the deadlines, the time pressure, the crunch.
Yeah.
It's stressful. And
Mhm.
speaking to people, there were a few of us that were like, "Do we want to be doing this?" Like, you have this big, like, "Oh my gosh! Like, we haven't had this for 18 months. This is crazy. This is
Yeah, but
insane."
it's like you feel, also there's like, I think someone was mentioning, so Valerie Behet from the Vibe agency in New
Hmm.
York, she's a DMC based in the US,
Okay.
amazing lady. She actually put a little video of what it was like to run the first in-person event they had in Florida, and her thoughts as an event professional and how
Yeah.
she felt about it. And I shared it on my LinkedIn feed. So if you're
Okay.
interested, anybody watch it. It's like 2 minutes or 3 minutes.
Okay.
But she said, what was, it was exhausting.
Mm.
And it was like you knew everything, but
Mm.
it took you like a bit longer to do it.
Yeah.
And it was like riding a bike again,
Mm.
but you
Mm.
really hadn't ridden a bike for like 3 or
18
4
months. Yeah.
years,
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
um the motions, but it was
Mm.
really like
Yeah.
restarting. But then also when you restart, it's almost like you're restarting yourself again, and you're having
Hmm.
to figure out, oh, well, I actually didn't really enjoy this. Can we not do
Yeah.
this differently now?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Or shouldn't we
Exactly.
be doing it differently now?
Yeah.
So I
Hmm.
think that disconnect was a good thing,
I think it puts
for
a
all of
lot
us.
of things into perspective for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's so common that you're kind of in the weeds and you're so inside of what you're doing
yeah,
that you don't take the time to like pick your head up and look around and see the big picture. So, I mean, in some ways, the pandemic has been, for people who are used to doing in-person events,
yeah,
the pandemic has been kind of this massive. I'm not going to call it a holiday because it's been really difficult. But it's been a disconnect, no?
It
And
has. It has.
the same sort of effect of as a holiday where you're away from it for long enough that you have the time to take some perspective
Yeah.
on how you do things. What's the purpose? Do you like doing this part of it too? I know people who realize like they didn't like what they were doing
Mm,
actually, and they've either done a different part of events now or have changed industries. So there's so many, not just physical health reasons why disconnecting is great, but also I think when you're making your plans moving forward,
mhm.
disconnecting helps you put those pieces into place so that kind of recenters yourself and gives you a good sense of direction.
Absolutely. And that's why it is so important, because when we say
Mm,
disconnect, it's not just about disconnecting from social media. It's
mm,
about disconnecting from, well, yeah, your
yeah.
daily. It's about
Mm,
not answering your emails,
mm,
or not running events like we have in
mm-hmm,
the pandemic, and what has that taught us. And it's kind of like the bigger picture of disconnect, and how important it has been. And I think the small period of disconnect in summer now that we've had has made us realize the bigger impact and importance of disconnecting
mm,
overall. And it's given a lot of people perspective. I know
yeah.
so many people that have left the industry, or they've decided they much prefer doing something else, or they've gone back to wanting to study,
Mm,
or
mm-hmm,
they've decided to
yeah.
start a family.
Yep.
Whatever it may be, it's given people this break,
Mm-hmm,
and to kind of then pick back up and see what they're doing.
yeah.
And Robert is, he mentions here that NASA again also recognizes the necessity of rehabilitation programming
Mm,
within their planning and delivery,
mm,
which absolutely I think is needed.
yeah.
It is
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
it is what it is. You
Mm,
have to rehabilitate people back into
mm-hmm,
work mode.
yeah.
Guys,
Yeah.
this is what's going to be happening. We've got lots of
Mm-hmm,
clients now. We're getting
yeah.
lots of proposals. How are we feeling about this? Are
Mm,
you able to do it again? And
yeah.
are you having those conversations with your team? Are you having those conversations with yourself?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Are your processes, for me, I've just
Mm-hmm,
taken on 2 new clients.
mm,
Are my processes in place for me to manage those clients?
mm-hmm,
I have to get them into place.
yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's important to have that break, to realize what you
Mm-hmm,
need to do.
yep.
So yeah, I think this was a very spontaneous impromptu marketing
Yeah.
live that we did, but I think it was very much needed.
And
We
very
wanted to,
relevant right now.
yeah,
I think a lot of people
exactly.
are, we're in the middle of the holidays, right? This is
Yeah.
when people are in and out. And I'm going to drop another question in the comments too, because I think one problem with this, the kind of opposing force to disconnecting, is guilt. Maybe like I think
Mm.
sometimes people feel guilty, like how many people do you see online, like in their out of office, for example, they put something like, I'm on holiday for 2 weeks, but I'll answer you as soon as I
As soon
can,
as I get
or,
back, yeah.
all right. Or even as soon as I can while I'm on holiday. You know what I mean? Like I'm still
Mhm.
checking emails and things. And I think that comes from a sense of guilt from disconnecting. And I think we need to like, not make that normal, like
Yeah.
try to
We
make
should normalize
normalizing
feeling not guilty.
right for taking a break. Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And to be honest, this was the first time, Jason, where I did not check my emails for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Mm.
I might have checked, but I didn't respond to anybody.
Yeah.
I literally
Yeah.
told everyone I'm back on the 7th.
Hmm.
I will respond to you that Monday after
Yeah.
I get back.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And it felt kind of strange, but so liberating. It was
Yeah.
wonderful.
Sure.
But no one was like, oh my God, I can't believe you didn't
Of
respond to me.
course.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. And I think
Of
we build
course.
it up in our heads that people are horrible, but they're not.
Yeah. No.
You
No. No.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
your
And if
clients are
there
not going to chase you.
no, and if there really is an emergency and you're just kind of reviewing your mails, like obviously there's exceptions to the
Then
rule,
you'll respond.
right?
Exactly.
But I think I think we need to drop the sense of guilt when people are on holiday. It's holiday. We're humans.
Holiday.
Enjoy
Exactly.
yourself.
I love it. Well,
So
as you can see now, me and Jason are connected again.
that's right. We're back.
And we're back. We're back. So we're going to be doing this every week. And next week, we will tell you what we're talking about next week, because that's just how we roll. And
we're going to get better. That's one thing I want to change.
We're going to get better. Exactly.
We're going to need to like put it out there.
Yeah. And I think if you are, if there's any topics that you want to, that you want to discuss, that you want to know about, whether it's about, being, having a small or medium business and running it, or digital marketing, or marketing, or visibility, or anything related to that as an event professional, then drop it in the comments and we will discuss it here on the show.
Yep.
And we are going to put the feelers out, of course, on all the other social media channels. And we will see you again back next week.
Yes.
It's either going to be Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday. We always strive for midweek.
Yep.
And you'll see the notification pop up on LinkedIn. Yep. And yeah, it's been amazing. Great to see you
Welcome
again,
back.
Jason.
And we're going to keep hammering this because you guys have been awesome today, interacting in the chat. And we're going to just keep, we want this to be not just Sabrina and I talking to each other, because we can do that anyway. So please keep commenting. Please keep interacting. We'll do our best to answer all your questions. This is supposed to be a hyper interactive session. So please, let's make the chat blow up every time we do these things if we can.
Exactly. And as Robert said, step out of panic mode and regain our self-control. Yes. That's what we need to do. In general, that should be your title and your slogan, normalize feeling not guilty and stepping out of panic mode and regaining our self-control. That's what we need to do. Amazing to see you again, to see everyone again. Thank you everyone for taking part in the chat. If you're watching this as a replay, thank you for watching it as a replay. If you've got any questions, put it in the comments. We'll definitely answer. And we are doing we're staying true to what we did before our hiatus of not sticking to 20 minutes, because that's our thing. So we'll see you next week on 20 minutes event.
Steaming on ahead. All right. That's us. Signing off.
Signing off. And we'll catch you next week. Bye, guys.
All right. Take care, guys. Bye.